You might be right. Oh, I'm glad to see some more people coming in. I generally don't start off with a speech like this because we have a guest and some of you are new to Toastmasters. One of the things you never do is start off your speech by giving excuses and mumbling around and saying, boy, I'm sure, sorry I volunteered for this week, but perseverance is what counts. Anyway, disregard all that. I'm starting my speech now. I was so happy to read, and I'm glad you picked it, the theme of today, leaders and influential people. Hope you can all attain that. In any event, we have a lot of great leaders in our country and leaders around the world. And one of the things that's going to be happening next week is Time Magazine is going to be presenting its annual issue of the 100 most influential people in the world. Look for it. And I can already think of some people right off the bat. For example, our own president, Obama. Why not? He certainly will be one of the leaders listed. Others are our own governor, Jerry Brown, will certainly be considered, I'm sure, because he has been making a lot of changes and proposing a lot of things, one of which I don't agree with is the high-speed train to nowhere. But that may not happen after all because it's becoming too expensive. We also have some other people around the country, and you know their names because they're always mentioned. Chris Christie, the governor of New Jersey. A good probability that he might be nominated for president of this party, and that's a leader. Ted Cruz from Texas, the Tea Party. He's the big guy in the Tea Party, and the Tea Party may not be dead yet. You may see some things coming out of that group before it's over. Christine Lagarde. Who knows Christine Lagarde? Christine Lagarde, and for you women, this is good. She is now the first woman to lead the International Monetary Fund. Now that may not mean too much to us individually, but it's a great big deal in the world, particularly in the world economy and what we're facing. Another one, a name you've heard, I'm sure. Angela Merkel. Anybody heard that name, Angela Merkel?
Germany.
She is the head of Germany right now and has been for several years and has been very influential because of this whole thing of what Vladimir Putin did in invading the Ukraine and taking over the part of the Ukraine, Crimea area. So she is a force. And she's been doing a lot of good things in Germany. And Germany is one of the few countries in Europe that didn't kind of go down the drain like Greece and Spain and Portugal, who are in debt and trying to get out of debt. So anyway, give a hand for Angela Merkel. She's a powerhouse. John Kerry. John Kerry's another one. He's now our Secretary of State. A leader representing us all over the world, and his predecessor was another leader. You may be hearing more about from her, Hillary Clinton. She certainly is a runner for the presidential nomination, I'm sure, in the Democratic Party. Rand Paul. You've probably heard of Rand Paul. He's from Kentucky, and he's making a big splash, and he's, kind of been on everybody's back and being in the news quite a bit. Harry Reid, the other side, the Democratic guy in the Democratic Party. And how about Bill Gates? Bill Gates, a familiar name that we all know of, and a leader. Not only because he now has returned as the richest man in the world. Can you believe that? Back on top, the richest guy in the world. But aside from that, he and his wife, Melinda, have been doing some great things. They have created a foundation. And one of the things that this foundation does is to find a final cure for polio. Isn't that marvelous? And things like that. So, you know what? A lot of these very rich people get a bad name. But I tell you, if they didn't make the money on it, where would we have these foundations that are doing such wonderful things around the world? As much money as our government spends in other countries, it's really the private money, I think, that really gets things done. Because so much of the government money that we give to other countries, it's corrupted. It goes to people that shouldn't really be getting it, never down to the people that we're trying to help. But other people that are doing good too, whether you think it or not, how about Jeff Bezos, the big Amazon head? Hey, you know what he's coming up with next? Drones that will be delivering your mail, be delivering to packages. I see people nodding their head. Isn't that something? You'll be able to walk outside, and what you ordered from Amazon right in front of your house will be this little drone dropping down and delivering whatever you ordered. It's amazing what's happening. And these people are leaders, visionaries, and influential because they are certainly influencing our lives. Then, of course, there's the people in the entertainment business. And when I was a kid, boy, my hero was what? You know, John Wayne. I mean, all these guys. And of course, with a lot of the younger people today, it's the singers. Who? Taylor Swift? Is it Taylor Swift is a big name. Lady Gaga. The latest one, Miley Cyrus, who's creating such a stir. I don't know why she should be considered influential, but she will be influential, you know, to a lot of young people. But that isn't who I would pick among young people. I would pick a young lady, and I don't know if you recognize this name, but her name is Malala Yousafzai. Malala Yousafzai. Does that ring a bell with you? Mm-hmm. Malala Yousafzai was a young Pakistani young girl who was shot in the head by the Taliban. Terrible thing. And yet, she persevered. She has written a book. It's a bestseller. And she is determined to someday get every young girl in this world an education. Because so many of the young girls around the world, unlike in our country, are not even considered worthy of an education. And she's a force we're going to hear more about. Malala Yousafzai. Okay, so who is my choice? And I have one person. And maybe you may not agree with it. You all have different religions. But I think the person who's come along, of all the 100 people that will be in that magazine, is Pope Francis. Pope Francis has changed the way I think of my church. I grew up Catholic, went all through Catholic school, grammar school, high school. And after I left, I no longer went to church. I just couldn't go for the ritual. It just was so phony. It was so theatrical. The Pope then was Pope Pius XII. I remember that. Never smiled. None of the popes ever smiled, it seemed, when I see pictures of them. Here is this jovial Pope. And not only jovial, but down to earth. He epitomizes what Jesus was when he was on earth. Get rid of the red shoes. Who needs the red shoes? Get rid of all the hype. Get rid of the gold cross. He uses a silver cross and a silver ring. And you know what happened the other day? A few weeks ago? Theatrics again, up to now. There's a ceremony, a day that they, a religious day that they practice. And the ceremony is for the Pope, the almighty Pope, to wash Jesus did at one time. And so all these popes up to now, yeah, they would wash somebody's feet. Again, theatrics. They'd wash some priest's feet. Somebody over there in the Vatican, some priest, hey, take off your shoes, I'm going to wash your feet. Not this pope. This pope went out to an orphanage. He picked some kids. We're going to go with this. And he got them. And he literally washed their feet. Not a lot of them, a few. And not only just Catholic kids, some Muslims kids. I mean, this is a pope that is reaching out and getting the message out. And he's sympathetic to a lot of things that other popes in the church were aghast at. For example, he says, yeah, the church is against homosexuality, for example. However, he said, gay people should not be shoveled off. I mean, we should not just, think that they're that, well, he didn't say it in those words, but he was a little sympathetic, even though the church, of course, is still against that, and they should be. He is against abortion. Now, I'm saying, well, he's being more lenient, but not on abortion. And again, he shouldn't be. And I agree with him on that. The church is against abortion because it takes away a life. And a life, to me, is not only a baby that's born. Hey, when I see a little spider crossing my kitchen floor, I don't kill it because it's life. What scientist in the world has ever created life yet? Something that moves. With all the things that have been discovered and made by scientists, who has created life? Insect flying along. So when you take that and then you consider the life of a human, no, we shouldn't have abortion. We're a rich enough country, particularly us, and other countries too, that we can afford to adopt babies. And young girls should be willing to give up their babies and not kill it. And this is what the Pope has said also. When the church in general said, oh, we can't have, these women that have babies and kill them. And yet the Pope said, yes, but we have to reach out. And we have to be sympathetic and sorry for these young girls that face that. So again, while he has to go by the traditions of the church, he's also reaching out, changing things little by little. Same thing with the priesthood. The church says, sorry, you ladies, no women priests in the Catholic Church. And he's gone along with that. So, I don't know. Jesus was a man, and maybe that's the way it should be. Anyway, he did say, though, the Virgin Mary was the woman, and believe it or not, he feels that the Virgin Mary, the Pope has said this, was more important. The Mother of God was more important, and here she is a lady, a woman, than all of the cardinals and bishops in his church, and even the 12 apostles. What an acclamation for that, for you ladies, the Mother of God. Even saying that's fantastic. Well, whoever you feel should be recognized. I'm sure you have all your choices. And we'll see what happens when this magazine comes out and picks the 100 most influential people. Whoever they are.